Hey, greetings everybody. It's Gleekon back again with another episode of Lore of Warcraft. I and we together on the last episode we played through some World of Warcraft Classic in the Tristful Glades region as a Forsaken Warlock, and just kind of did the first batch of quests around Brill, killing some humans, killing some undead, and little zombie animals too. We've also been looking through the World of Warcraft Classic campaign setting for Dungeons and Dragons with a book called Lands of Mystery. This is in this installment of the source material. It's one of the 5 or 6 books written from the perspective of Bran Bronzebeard. So we're taking our time and going through this one, and we've done that just about every single zone other than the Eastern Kingdoms, which is covered in an earlier book. And we are now in the middle of Northrend. So stay a while and listen as we discuss Crystalsong Forest. Right off the bat, there's a few things to note. One, the population is next to nothing. A few crystalline golems and green dragons. I don't know if those are still there. Two, no Dalaran mentioned. So those are some big things that I think have yet to change. Obviously, it's not the seat of the positive resistance in Northrend yet. And the green dragons, I don't remember seeing any green dragons in Northrend. Other than at like Wormrest Temple. I've never seen a place like this before, and probably never shall again. Words cannot do it justice. Picture a forest crafted from crystal, but no, that's not accurate because these are not trees. Imagine a place where crystals as tall as trees sprout from the ground. That's not quite right either because the ground is crystal as well. Think of a winter scene, snow and ice blanketing the ground, the rocks, the trees, then change that snow and ice to crystal that glows from within. That's as close as I can come, and it doesn't begin to explain the beauty and peace that fills Crystalsong Forest. The crystals make noise, they sing. Ancient magic is at work here. So thinking about the Crystalsong Forest that we know, I wonder, because that is almost a dead zone. There's very little going on. It's one of the most dead zones in all of World of Warcraft. It's similar to like old school Azshara. And it's not like they're going to come back to Wrath and spice this zone up. So other than a small smattering of quests and dailies that take place in that area, I wonder, what was in the creators' minds and if there's anything that just got scrapped for this zone. Let's look at the history of Crystalsong Forest, a combination of various Tuskar tales compiled by Bran Bronzebeard. Crystalsong Forest was not always as it is now. Once it resembled a normal landscape. Then, black and blue dragons fought a great battle here, and many dragons died. Their magic released into the air and settled as glittering light on the ground and the rocks and the trees. Finally, an elder blue dragon beset by many blacks unleashed a powerful spell to strip the life from his attackers and turn them to stone. The loose magic altered and amplified the spell, spreading it across the entire region and changing soil and stone and wood and flesh into living crystal. Only the great tree was spared, protected by its green dragon guardians. Now I wonder if some or all of that is canon. After the battle ended, the storm giants investigated this strange new place. They discovered that the crystals contained strong magic of their own and began mining the forest for their own purposes. They created crystalline golems to handle the actual work and left these creatures to defend the forest and carry crystals back to Ulduar. When the Dark One, Bran's note, I think they mean the Lich King, arrived in Northrend, he immediately sensed the power of the forest. He dispatched several of his mightiest servants to secure the region for his use. The golems destroyed them, and the green dragons eliminated the servants who approached the great tree. The Dark One tried again, this time sending a small army into Crystalsong, and this time the forest itself took steps. As the monstrosities approached, the forest's song grew louder, shaking every spire, and the creatures burst like shattered glass. The Dark One never made a third attempt, perhaps accepting that some force protected the forest and would not let him pass. Interesting. People and culture. Only 2 races live within Crystalsong Forest, crystalline golems and green dragons. Neither is what I would call normal or particularly friendly, and neither of them have real homes or cultures. No culture for the green dragons? The crystalline golems are constructs created by the storm giants up in Ulduar. They look like men, only larger and made of crystal, and serve the giants as workers, scouts, and servants. The storm giants use crystal from Crystalsong Forest in their experiments and items and send the golems to fetch it. The golems also protect this place from travelers who might despoil it or settle here and destroy the place's magic. I had a few run-ins with the golems when I arrived, but once I'd assured them that I was only passing through, and they saw that I was not harming the crystals, they left me alone. I was still tempted to break off a small sample, but it didn't seem worth the risk. Green dragons live here as well, though only around the great tree. They ignored me until I approached it, then told me to step back or be destroyed. No discussion. I think they nest in its branches when they're not buzzing around like angry hornets. Geography. I've already described the forest as best I can. The ground here rolls slightly, not enough to produce real hills or valleys, but enough to keep it from being utterly flat. The crystals vary in size, from a few feet to hundreds of feet high, and from a small tree to a large house in width. Small streams flow here and there, probably where Snowbelt has worn channels in the crystal, and I've seen a few waterfalls as well, when those streams reach the edge of one level and fall to the next. It's breathtaking, watching that water cascade down, lit from behind by the crystal's light. I don't know who dubbed this place a forest, though. I'd have said Crystalsong Canyon, or valley, or landscape. Many of the crystals do rise like trees, tall and straight, but others are wide and flat, or slightly curved, or tilted at some strange angle. It really is an entire land of crystal, as if something took an ordinary region and transformed everything within it. So that's obviously not true. It is an actual forest now. The only other creatures here are birds. They perch everywhere, flitting from crystal to crystal and singing as they go. The sound echoes and the crystals resonate to it, amplifying notes and creating new melodies from several sources. The forest itself seems to be playing music, and you can feel it through your feet and up through your bones. It's lovely, and in most places so soft you strain to hear it, but it never completely fades. It's important to note, though, that even if there were no birds here, the crystals would still sing. This is old magic and has nothing to do with wildlife. The chamber. The music is soft in most places, but not here. The chamber is near the center of the forest, and you can't find it until you stumble into it. That's because it's surrounded by a small maze of crystal spires. Yet if you turn just the right way, you pass through them and into the shallow basin. The innermost spires tower above it and arch in slightly, forming a vaulted ceiling high overhead. The forest's song is trapped here, bouncing from surface to surface and swelling with each impact, so loud your ears ring. I didn't see any other creatures here, or any indication of previous visitors, so perhaps I was the first to find that place. I know that if I ever return to Crystalsong Forest, I'll look for it again. Standing there letting the music wash over you, you can believe you're hearing life itself. Sites and settlements. Crystalsong Forest has only one settlement of any sort. The golems are not technically alive and are always busy here, so they have no camp anywhere. Travelers who are allowed entrance set up camp anywhere the ground is level enough and open enough, but they never stay long. Only the dragons remain in the great tree. The only non-crystal in the entire forest, this enormous tree stands near its northern edge. I've seen few trees even close to this one's size. Its trunk is easily as thick around as a castle, and its canopy rises several hundred feet above the ground. Its roots must be equally deep to pass below the crystals into soil, unless the crystals themselves provide nourishment. The great tree is a portal into the Emerald Dream. 12 green dragons guard it constantly, nesting in its branches and swooping down to intercept visitors. Druids are allowed entrance. Everyone else is turned back or killed. History. In Cascala, a few Tuskar told me some rumors about Crystalsong Forest's history. Several of these rumors conflicted, and who knows if they have any truth to them, but I included the most interesting one, which we already read. Adventures. Crystalsong has few residents, though they defend the forest effectively. Its crystals contain mysterious and impressive magic, enough to tempt any arcanist or tinker. For those allowed entry, the forest also provides an easy way to reach the Storm Peaks, Zuldrak, Icecrown Glacier, or the Dragonblight. Yeah, so it's a crossroads. Crystal theft is our quest. Several spires within the forest show chips, gouges, and fractures. Someone has been mining Crystalsong for its crystals. The golems are more precise and less invasive, so this is someone else. Who has gained access, and what do they plan to do with the magic gems? Has the Lich King found a way past the forest defenses? The heroes need to find out who is carving off pieces and stop them before those gems can be used to create something that threatens the free people of Northrend. All right, so we've definitely reached the portion of the book and the portion of the lands, Northrend at large, where we can put up a big sign that says under construction. A lot of things will change, but there are a lot of germs of ideas that are still here and become the Northrend that we know and love today. We have another episode in the pipe 5x5. Thank you, everyone, so much for watching and listening. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you next time on Lore of Warcraft.